the fact that there really is no commitment or covenant. He's already broken it. I really feel like I was emotionally abandoned by him many, many years ago, well before the catfishing.
I don't really consider myself married to Meri. If she wanted to move on and marry another, she wouldn't get an argument with me.
That was pretty insulting and pretty vulgar for him to just be open to that.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, November 20th, 2023. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Last night was the season finale of Sister Wives, although there's a four-part tell-all coming up in the next week with 4 more episodes. So I guess it's the season finale, but we've got so much more that we're going to talk about. And in the episode, there was several parts that I thought were quite interesting, mostly related to Meri, Robyn, and Kody, but there was also some discussion with Janelle and Christine about their relationships and why Christine left, and Christine telling her brothers about leaving. And I just wanted to touch on this part of the episode before we get into the stuff that happened with Robyn, which will come up next. But Meri Brown got her groove back in last night's episode. And, you know, Meri has weathered a lot on the 18 seasons of Sister Wives. She has been estranged for Kody for a very long time. And she has been kind of scapegoated as the bad person in the family, when really the bad person in the family is none other than Kody himself. And she, in this episode, talked about how she had a conversation with Kody, and they finally had this aha moment about how they were not going to be together anymore. And he wanted to keep it private, obviously. But it was in the middle of these conversations that season 17 aired. And during season 17's airing, she saw for the first time Kody saying publicly, "I don't consider myself married to Meri anymore," but he had never had that conversation with her privately. And she called that vulgar. She called it a break of the covenant, emotional abandonment. And she apparently needed that in order for her to move on. You know, we can say a lot of things as viewers. It's hard for us to know what happens in their dynamics, but reality television does 100% play a role in this factor, because Kody is goading her in a confessional and on a couch, and then she's having to hear him say it. It would probably be pretty humiliating if I were her. So let's dive into the topic. Before we do, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet subscribed, and click on the bell so you never miss a video.
I saw where he actually said, "No, I don't consider myself married to Meri anymore."
Usually our church would say you're divorced. You have to go ask for it.
Yeah.
You have to get paperwork. You have to get approval. You have to prove that the marriage is broken.
I don't really consider myself married to Meri. If she wanted to move on and marry another, she wouldn't get an argument with me.
I will say that I like how the editors of the show this season are really showing kind of the hypocrisy of Kody, in that if Robyn says something, say about Christine, when she made the decision to leave and she didn't go through the church, and they made this whole big deal about how she needed to go through the church and get a release and then go through counseling and file all kinds of paperwork, and then even then she wouldn't be really considered released until she slept with another man. And Kody agreed with that, because he didn't like this idea that she could just decide that she was divorced. Meanwhile, Kody decided that he was divorced from Meri without telling her, without going to the proper authorities, without talking to anyone at the church, without getting a release. So he wanted Christine to do a release, but he didn't have to do the release if he wanted to leave Meri. So I like the way that it's at least showing that Kody is a hypocrite, that I wanted this for Christine, but I didn't want this for Meri, right? It's kind of like saying you're not loyal to Christine, but then Meri, who is super loyal, is not good enough for Kody either. So Christine's not loyal, Meri is loyal. The problem with Christine in the marriage is that she's not loyal. The problem with Meri in the marriage is what? If loyalty is like the thing, he wants loyalty and respect, and Meri gives him that. Anyways, so that was sort of like the beginning of it, her realizing, okay, he says it on the show, and it's really cruel. I mean, it's super cruel. And then Christine didn't do a lot of like overlay speaking, which I actually appreciated that the conversations between Meri, Robyn, and Kody didn't include everyone else's voices. It was really just the people that were there. But Christine did make a comment about Robyn that I wanted to share.
I think it's disgusting how Kody's been dragging Meri along for years. And I think it's equally as disgusting that Robyn's like, stay with the family, stay with the family. Let that girl go.
Here's the thing. When Christine was struggling with Kody and she said that she couldn't be married to Meri, did try to comfort her and just think of the bigger picture, the broader picture, look at the mountains, she said, try to look at this from a different perspective. And I understood that where she was coming from. But when Christine was leaving, she also didn't tell Christine that she should stay. Like, she didn't make Christine feel guilty for leaving. She didn't necessarily agree or understand, but she didn't spend year after year after year trying to make her stay. I mean, Christine did go to advice to Meri about Kody. And Meri would often tell Christine things like, you just need to work on yourself, not worry about what he thinks. Look inside yourself. You can't control him. You'll never be able to control him. And just, keep sweet. But in terms of like making someone stay, I don't feel like any of the OG 3 ever were like, you can't leave. You're forced to leave. I feel like those 3 had this idea that like, yes, this is a choice that we've all made, but at the same time, they gave each other the freedom if they wanted to go. And when it comes to Meri and Robyn never was like supportive of anyone leaving the family, regardless of how bad it got. But Robyn would say things like, I have an agreement with Kody that if things get bad with us and we fall out of love, I can leave. So Robyn had Kody make agreements with her that they had this, like, we can sever ties at any time. But when it came to Meri, when she was mistreated, Robyn wanted her to do something completely different and didn't support her leaving, and just like watched her friend, quote unquote friend, stay in a miserable situation, which on the surface is not what a friend would do. A friend would want the other friend to be happy, right? So Christine's all like, I'm disgusted that Kody strung her along, but I'm also just equally disgusted that Robyn was saying things like, stay with him, I want you in the family, when she knew full well that Meri's needs weren't getting met. After that small blip, after they talked about what they were going to do, like what's Meri going to do, she figures out that Kody says that he doesn't want to be married to her anymore. Christine calls out Robyn for dragging Meri along. Then it goes to a scene where Christine, Janelle, and her brothers are in Idaho and they're hiking. And Kody, being the narcissist that he is, believes that the only reason Janelle and Christine are friends are because they hate him.
It's interesting that Christine and Janelle have a newfound relationship, because I think it was more antagonistic before. I wish it wasn't so, but it seems to me that they are united in a common enemy against me and Robyn, because they've got nothing good to say about us.
Christine and Janelle are literally in Idaho, hiking with her brothers and her sister-in-law's mom, their nephews. And Kody thinks that the only reason the two of them are united is because they don't like Kody and they don't like Robyn. And then he's surprised that their relationship now is less antagonistic because maybe, Kody, you're not in the picture. You know, They say that the reason why they've stayed connected is because their kids all grew up together. They relied on each other quite a lot. And Christina said over and over and over again that Janelle was very supportive of her decision to leave and extremely helpful to her when she was going to go. And that as the two of them through COVID got closer, they were able to lean on each other and share their experiences with one another. When they removed the dynamic of Kody in their relationship, they realized that they actually really liked each other. They didn't dislike each other before. They just weren't as close because they couldn't be as close because of the marriage. When you're sharing a spouse, you're going to be antagonistic. And it's almost like Kody was the antagonizer. He was pitting all of the women against each other. But for them to like have a common enemy as being the only reason, doubtful. It's more probable that they are loyal to the sense of family, and that during the split, they realized that their idea of what family wasn't necessarily Kody. It was the other sister wife or the other sister wives' kids. And they're both close to each other's children. So why would they want to not be in the other children's lives? When you've got most of Janelle's kids looking at Christine as a mom, of course Janelle is going to admire her and say, yeah, I want my kids to have Christine in their lives. Yes, they can commiserate now, but I mean, their commisery isn't the sole bond that keeps them together. And equally, Kody and Robyn are united in their hatred for Christine and Janelle. So it's like, is he really just telling on himself? That's kind of like how I took it, but I don't know, that's just me.
Our group was teaching that the world was going to end. So don't get your college education. All women need to do is get married. The world's going to end. There were different classes and church meetings that we went to where some of the people would teach that the world is going to end. And I remember talking to my dad about it, and he was like, oh, Chris, that's not true. That's crazy. You got to go to college. I'm like, oh, all right. So I went to college.
During their hike, they stopped to rest, and they started talking about how Levi's mother-in-law is going back to school to get her degree, and she's doing this degree online. So they started talking about Janelle going back to school, which then brought them into this whole discussion about food storage and the end of times. And Christine brought up how when she was growing up, they told members of the church in the Apostolic United Brethren that the world was going to end. And their prophets would have prophecies that the world was ending. And so because the world was ending, they told women that all they needed to do was just go get married and have babies. That was it. Don't go to college. Don't get a degree because the world is ending. Her brother said that this prophecy was used all the time. So when something bad would happen in the world, like say a flood, a hurricane, there was a catastrophe, the church would use that as, see, the world is going to end. See, you should just keep, not going to college, stay in line, prepare for the end of the world. And they started talking about how this preparation made them become preppers. It's interesting they're finally actually talking about this, because for years they would talk about food storage, but they never explained why.
Yeah, anytime anything happened in the world at all, like any sort of crisis, it was like the world is ending right now. But it's funny because there's this paradox too where they want to be prepared. They want to be,
you have to know, I grew up in the mainstream LDS church.
Our church was always encouraging us to have food storage. And I'm not talking about small amounts. I'm talking about like enough for a very long time for a large family kind of a thing.
So when we buy meat, we buy it in bulk. And
then we learn, after they reveal that they were food preppers and preppers for the end of the world because they were receiving prophecies that the end times were coming, they reveal that not only was it that they were preppers, but it was really Christine and Janelle that were into having enough food storage. And so they would buy tons of stuff in bulk. And for years, apparently, Christine's house in Flagstaff and her house in Vegas was where the food storage was. But when Christine made the decision to leave the church, the Fundamentalist church and the LDS church, she left her prepper life behind. So she doesn't believe anymore in the end of time. She doesn't do prepping anymore. Janelle said that she still is a prepper, and she had enough toilet paper during COVID. So there's that. But Kody then says that he has their food storage in a storage facility. Like, why doesn't he have space at Robyn's house for the food storage? The last time I checked, Robyn's house was bigger than everyone else's house. And yet they don't even have the food storage at Robyn's house, which would have space.
Yeah, we got a little bit of food storage. When Christine left, we were storing it all in Christine's garage. When she left, she didn't want any of it. So we got our food storage put away. It's in storage, but it's costing us money every month to store it. It's taking up space that I don't feel like I can spare.
Kody's priorities are so messed up. Not that I am a prepper, but if you are someone that believes that you want to be ready, why would you have your food in a storage facility? Because theoretically, if something happens, say a atomic bomb is dropped or there's a massive plague, you wouldn't be able to leave your house. So you're supposed to have your storage with you, near you, in your home. And he's paying to have it in a storage facility. Listen, there's some food that can be okay for a while, but even canned food has expiration dates, and even things like flour and wheat, and they're not good indefinitely. All food eventually expires. So really, it seems so wasteful. I could understand wanting to have some resources, but this doomsday, end of times premonition, it's very typical with the AUB, but they've never explained why. So this is really the first time that Christine and her brothers go into why they were doing this. And then finally, Janelle revealed that Kody, their kids and Robyn's kids are not.
It just for some reason feels like there's this huge gulf between Robyn's children and the rest of the children. And I hear from my children and Christine's children whenever I'm with them that they miss Robyn's children. They miss Dayton. My boys especially really do miss Dayton. I don't know, it's become so estranged and so bitter, and there's things being said now, and I just don't know if it'll ever happen.
So Kody thinks that they're in a common unity to hate Robyn and Kody, but they're constantly talking about how they want to get the kids together. They want the kids to spend time together. They would love to have a family reunion for the kids so that they could all see their siblings. And Christine says that she doesn't think it'll be possible with everything that's been happening. And Janelle then explains that the kids miss Robyn's kids, but they don't communicate with them. There's some sort of huge divide now, obviously from what happened with the text exchange, and then obviously I'm assuming that Robyn is telling them that these people can't be trusted, they're evil, they're wicked, they're wayward. And it probably has something to do with Kody as well. With Kody being at home with them all the time now, they are going to have to be loyal to him, and loyalty for Kody means you cut off people that he believes are not loyal to him. He wants everyone to respect him, and respecting him means following his rules. So Robyn's kids, if they're going to respect Kody and respect his rules, are not going to talk to Christine's kids or Janelle's kids that they feel are disobedient. And there's a level of their faith being a part of that where they just are shunning them, anyone that's not obeying Kody and obeying their faith in the patriarchy. And it's really sad because the adult kids shouldn't be stuck in the middle. So that's what I have for now. What I really got from this first half of the episode really was that Christine called out Robyn for her hypocrisy. Meri realized that she needed to leave when Kody publicly said those horrible things on the show. And the Browns are preppers. Well, at least they were. At least Christine was. But Kody and Robyn might still be. Meri, not so much. Meri said she's not a prepper. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.